Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino. So I have to make a correction first. In my last Saturday morning read-along, I think it's called Saturday morning read-alongs. Is it just Saturday morning read? I don't know. In my last Saturday morning read-along, though, which was also the first Saturday morning read-along, I read a chapter from the first book in the 87th Precinct series from Ed McBain. Now, the 87th Precinct series is the longest and most popular and best series of police procedurals that stars a large cast of police detectives and extended supporting characters, like their loved ones, their informants, that kind of thing, as well as the city itself, which McBain considered the main character of the series. It's basically New York City. So in that video, I said that McBain originally killed off the actual main human character of the series, Detective Steve Carella, in the second book, The Mugger. And my point with that was how McBain, in an afterword of the second novel, talked about how he originally killed Carella off at the end of that book. At some point in the book, Carella gets shot, kind of pretty much near the end. And at the end, in the published version, we find out that Steve is going to live after all. And I talked about how when I read the book, I knew he was going to live because even though it was the second book, I had already read other novels from the series out of order. So for me, I was like, wow, this looks like this mofo is going to die, but I know he doesn't die. But anyway, in the afterword, McBain was like, yeah, I ended this novel with Carella dying. But his editor called him and was like, what are you doing? You just killed off the main character. And McBain tried to argue and say, no. The city is the main character. Any of the actual humans can die, leave. The main character is actually the city.
Us the right to say what we want.
Shut
when you think about it.
Up.
The city and the weather actually seems like each novel focuses on a particular season, so the weather is always a big part of that. But anyway, so he was talking about that. He had this whole literary convention, or this literary idea rather, about what he wanted to do with the 87th Precinct series of the novels. And his editor was like, nah. Carella is the main character. He was the star of the first book, and you can't just kill him off now in the second. And that's what I said in the last video. So McBain decided to give in, put aside his literary pretensions for the series or his literary aspirations for the series. And like he said in the afterword, deciding not to kill off Carella in the series was the right choice. And I talked about that. The whole point of me even talking about that was an example of how McBain listened to reason. Whereas someone like Neil Druckmann, who killed off Joel in The Last of Us, pushed his stupid agenda and his pretentious sense of self as an artist and not just being a game director who understands that his audience loves Joel. And okay, so even if you kill Joel off, you don't force the player to play as the person who killed him and for so long. It's like rub your nose and rub your face in the fact that, no, everything you did as Joel in the first game was actually wrong. And now we're condemning him not just to death, but to humiliation because he was a toxic, straight white man for saving a girl he got involved with, bonded with, whatever, right? But here's the correction. So I have to make a correction because Carella wasn't almost killed off in the second book called The Mugger. He was actually going to be killed off in the third book, The Pusher.
You know me, I'm your friend, your main boy, thick and thin. I'm your pusher man.
So yeah, just had to make that correction. Now, the second book, The Mugger, is great. And ironically enough, I think it's one of the best in the series that I've read so far, and Carella isn't even in it until the end. So technically, McBain could have killed Carella off, and the series would have still been great. Now, how popular it would have been, that's another story. So for this Saturday morning read-along, I'll call this a read-along if I didn't call the other one a read-along, but for this Saturday morning read-along, we're going to stay with the 87th Precinct series. I'm still doing that one book a month thing, although I actually didn't I haven't started it. It is near the end of the month of January here at the time of this recording. I haven't actually started the fourth book yet, but I'm going to try to be slick and start today. So even if I don't finish it this month, I'll finish it in the first day or two of Feb. But anyway, we're going to read book 2, or the opening of book 2, at McBain's The Mugger. The city could be nothing but a woman. And that's good, because your business is women. You know her tossed head and the auburn crowns of molting autumn foliage, Riverhead in the park. You know the ripe curve of her breast, where the river Dix molds it with a flashing bolt of blue silk. Her navel winks at you from the harbor in Bethtown, and you have been intimate with the twin loins of Calms Point and Majesta. She is a woman, and she is your woman. And in the fall, she wears a perfume of mingled wood smoke and carbon dioxide, a musty smell, bred of her streets and of her machines and of her people. You have known her fresh from sleep, clean and uncluttered. You have seen her naked streets, have heard the sullen murmur of the wind in the concrete canyons of Isola, have watched her come awake, alive. You have seen her dress for work, and you have seen her dress for play, and you have seen her sleek and smooth as a jungle panther at night, her coat glistening with the pinpoint jewels of reflected harbor light. You have known her sultry and petulant and loving and hating and defiant and meek and cruel and unjust and sweet and poignant. You know all of her moods and all of her ways. She is big and sprawling and dirty sometimes, and sometimes she shrieks in pain, and sometimes she moans in ecstasy. But she can be nothing but a woman, and that's good because your business is women. You are a mugger.
And scene.